This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Welcome back. It's Jonathan Clark. We are in the studio with a rock and roll Hall of Famer from the band Kiss and a co-founding member of that band. He is known as the Spaceman. We have the new album, ironically titled Spaceman, the perfect title, on tour and promos all around the world. All that info at acefrehley.com. He is Ace Frehley, and I've been saying Frehley for years, Ace, and I'm just finding out that it's Frehley.
Yeah, well, you know, as long as you say my name, I don't care if you mispronounce it. It gets across to the audience.
Well, I want to say congratulations on making a fantastic new album, man.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you're getting all these good vibes from all around the world on this album, and you look fantastic, by the way. What is your secret?
I dropped 30 pounds.
You're like svelte now.
No carbs, no sugar, no bread.
Wow. Good for you, man. Are you getting ready to put on that spaceman costume or something?
People are saying that on the internet. Ace was slimming down so he can slip into his old costume.
Well, they could make a custom costume if you put on like 10 or 15
I don't know.
pounds.
I just wanted to lose the weight. I got tired of sucking in my gut on stage.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that, too. This new album, though, the guitars, man, they are nice and loud.
Yeah, I like loud guitars.
So do I.
Yeah.
What?
Thanks to the Marshall Amplification Company, my hearing is not what it used to be.
Well, we got 9 songs, and actually you got one cover on here. It's Eddie Money's I Want to Go Back. Now, I know you now live in beautiful Southern California, but that song, I read that you heard it recently, and it sort of inspired you. Like, I kind of want to go back.
Well, actually, it was about a year and a half ago. I was watching videos with Rachel at home. We were in bed, and that song came on, and I identified with it so much because I had just recently done a piece for the Village Voice where they wanted me to go back to the Bronx. They wanted to see my high school, where I hung out, so on and so forth. And pretty much the Eddie Money video is him going back to his old high school and, driving around his old neighborhood. So I identified with that immediately.
Yeah.
But the music and the lyrics are just brilliant.
So you've covered that one. Anton Fig, your old friend, playing on this album as well, too. Wasn't he on the very first Ace solo album?
He probably played on the first 3 or 4 albums.
Man, he hit some hard, too.
Oh, yeah. He still has it. I played with him at a Kiss Expo in Indianapolis, and it was great. We got together. We got the old Frehley's Comet Band together. Me, John Regan, Todd Howarth, and Anton Fig.
Oh, so good. And another song on the album, sort of in that same theme, perhaps, Bronx Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny story behind that. A friend of mine who co-wrote the song with me brought this song over, and it was entitled Green Tea. So I started looking at the lyrics, and then one of the lines goes, I got my green tea, don't need no cocaine. I'm saying, look, I don't want to do an anti-drug song. I mean, I'm sober, but, everybody do what they want to do. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Right.
So I ended up erasing all his lyrics and redid it, and pretty much drew from my own personal experiences growing up in the Bronx.
And, well, tell me about the Ducky Boys. They were an Irish street gang or something in the Bronx during the 70s?
But I was German and Dutch and Indian.
Right, yeah. You were an honorary member, I guess. Did you guys get into a lot of trouble or what?
Yeah. We got arrested a few times, and I ended up with a black eye a couple of times.
Do you still have the awesome mugshot, or did a mugshot exist?
I don't know.
We have to Google that.
Back in those days, even if it did, it wouldn't have been digitized, so you can't get it.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's some famous ones.
I mean, I was like 14 years old.
Yeah. Well, we got to put that up in a montage with like Sinatra and Elvis.
The precinct was 52.
52nd, huh?
52nd precinct.
You just released a video for the song Rockin' with the Boys. So the band in that video, is that the band that you sort of are no longer with, or is that Gene Simmons' band in that video?
Well, it's the band that I just let go but they're all wonderful guys. It was just, time to move on. And the band I'm with now is my new band. I stole them from Gene, so they're not Gene Simmons'
Well,
band.
tell
They're
that
my
story.
band.
Tell that story, because I think you were doing a few dates in Australia, I guess, with Gene. Like, you would do your set with Gene's band. Gene would come on. You'd be backstage in the green room or whatever, waiting for an hour and a half to come back on and play Deuce and Rock and Roll All Night or something,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then, so you did Australia, and then you were supposed to go to Japan, and then what happened?
Well, Gene canceled Japan for whatever reason. Maybe he had to go home for business or whatever the case may be. I went out to Japan alone with his band at the time.
Yes.
And we did 8 shows in Japan. And on the last night, I talked to the guys and I said, would you be interested in playing with me? I'd like to, I think it's time to move on. I mean, I was doing 2,000 Man in Tokyo, and for the first time, I heard 3-part harmony. I haven't heard that since Paul and Gene used to do it.
Right.
And Peter. And, my band didn't do it because, they're not all lead singers. So this new band, everybody sings lead. Everybody knows what they're playing and does their homework. And I just thought it was a time to make a change.
Right. So they're hungrier. They're just
younger and they're hungrier.
And Gene is on 2 songs on this album.
Well,
too.
we wrote 2 songs. I did a vault experience with them up in Los Angeles at Capitol Records, and that went real well. And then like a week later, I invited them to come down to my home studio and try to write a couple of songs. And he showed up at my doorstep about a week later, and we wrote 2 songs in 3-4 hours.
Wow.
And one of them opens the album, and the second one is the third song,
That is
Without You, I'm Nothing is the opening track.
Right.
And the third song is Your Wish Is My Command.
Did Gene come up with the title of the album?
Yes.
He did. How did that happen?
I was in Miami with Gene doing a vault experience. Again. And again. And we were doing a Q&A, and at that point in time, I hadn't figured out the title of the record. It had already been recorded, but, I was still in the mixing process. So I kind of figured I'd poll the audience to get a vibe. I wanted to call it 40 Years Later because it's been 40 years since my first solo record with New York Groove. And I kind of got a lukewarm response from the audience. And then Gene goes, Ace, you must call it Spaceman.
Well, I mean, it's not a stretch by any means. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah. Well, I just ran with it. Yeah. Good idea. Thanks, Gene.
Ace Frehley with us. You used to drive a cab right before Kiss sort of took off?
Me and Paul both.
Really? Was that the worst job ever, or did you kind of like it?
I hated it.
Yeah. Was it in Manhattan or was it in the Bronx?
It was in Manhattan. Everywhere? I got robbed one day, but not the way you would think. Some black guy got in the car with like 4 big boxes, and he said it was filled with liquor. And so I assumed it was. And he goes, I got to get this to a party. But, I'm driving all around, and we stop at a project, and he goes, I'll be right back. And he runs out of the cab. I'm going, where the hell is this guy? 15 minutes have gone by.
The meters running.
I look in the boxes, and they're like, filled with newspaper. So
wow.
That wasn't the best day.
Do you ever have recurring dreams or nightmares, musically or otherwise?
Not really.
No?
When I was a kid, I used to fly all the time. I was already a superhero in my dreams.
That's right. Yeah. Do you listen to music aside from your solo stuff and other things? And if so, what do you listen to?
Pretty much I listen to the older stuff that I grew up with. There's nothing new that's really exciting me or tickling my fancy.
Have you heard of Greta Van Fleet?
I've heard the name.
Yeah. You should check them out. I'd be curious to hear what you think. A lot of people say they're completely derivative of Led Zeppelin, but they're all 20 years old.
I heard about them. A friend of mine mentioned them to me, and I'm definitely going to check them out. But, I never have any time.
Right. You're everywhere.
And, when I'm at home, I have a home studio. So a lot of times I work in the studio. Then I want quiet. When I'm driving in my Bentley, I don't want to hear any music. I want to hear the birds and the air and the country sound.
You really have a Bentley?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's awesome. In just the past few years, there's been a sort of, coming together between you and Paul and Gene, working on songs and videos and everything like that. What's interesting is that Kiss announced their, quote unquote, farewell tour.
No, it's called the End of the Road Tour.
The End of the Road Tour, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And as recently as a day ago, Paul Stanley said that this tour could include ex-band members. He said this like yesterday. But they haven't announced any tour dates yet. They've had the announcement, but there are no dates.
It's kind of strange because who announces a tour without at least a dozen dates or,
Yeah, on sale now, whatever. Yeah,
we're kicking the tour off and so-and-so and bada bing, bada boom. So I haven't gotten the call, Somebody said to me the other day, well, if you did get the call, who would the call be from? And I said, probably Doc, Gene, and Paul.
Right.
Because I got a conference call from them prior to being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we were discussing whether or not we were going to perform. And, of course, that never happened.
So
they said, do you want to get on stage with Tommy? I go, no, thanks.
Well, so you've lost 30 pounds, so you can fit right into that Spaceman suit if you get the call, right?
If need be.
Do you still have the Pyrotechnic Les Paul?
I have all the effects. One that shoots rockets, one that has a pinwheel, one that lights up, and one that smokes.
Nice.
I'm an innovator in guitar effects.
What is your favorite song on the new album, Spaceman?
That's a tough one. I kind of like the cover song. There's just, when I get home, I have the album on my laptop, all the masters, and I'll just open the folder. And for some reason, I click on the Eddie Money song.
Really?
Yeah, it just does it for me.
Wow. Ace Frehley is the man, and the new album is Spaceman. Get all the info at acefrehley.com. We'll hold it up one more time here for the fans. Say hi to your friends on Facebook, by the way.
Hi. How you doing? I don't know. I've never done a live Facebook thing before.
Well, you can't say that anymore.
Well, this is a first.
Ace, thank you so much and best of luck, and we'll see you very soon.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.